So I think in my last couple of videos where I mentioned this, I kept calling it Ninja Batman, but it's Batman Ninja. I I think Ninja Batman sounds better. It just rolls off the tongue a little bit better, but Batman Ninja just feels awkward to say. I mean, am I wrong on this? Whatever. Let's review this thing. So this movie was hyped up quite a bit. I know a lot of people on Twitter were talking about it. I think some people got to see it early. I don't know if it was in theaters or if it had been streaming online early or something like that. I got the Blu-ray release, of course, because that's what I always get. The movie is CGI, which is kind of a diversion from a lot of the other animated DC movies that have come out. Although it's more of a 2D, 3D hybrid, as there were a lot of traditionally animated scenes in it. As if I really needed to deal with another 2D, 3D hybrid movie. At least this one was better. So the plot of this movie is Gorilla Grodd invents a time machine, for some reason, and it goes haywire and sends Batman, a lot of Batman's criminals, as well as a lot of other characters from Batman, back to feudal Japan. But the criminals have slowly taken over, and Batman, as well as the Robins, and yes, all 4 Robins are in this movie, as well as a few other allies, have to team up with a ninja clan to try and stop them. That's pretty much all you need to know about this. This time around, Roger Craig Smith voices Batman, and it seems like he was going for sort of a Christian Bale Batman, because he had a lot of the deep voices that Christian Bale always did. I don't know if I can do a Christian Bale impression, but if you're familiar with the Christian Bale movies, you know what I'm talking about. Tony Hale is the voice of the Joker in this, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think he's the best Joker. He seems to be going for sort of a Cesar Romero type of Joker, where he's very loud and exaggerated, but there were a lot of times where I felt his performance was a little forced. Got Grey Griffin as Catwoman, Fred Tatasciore as Gorilla Grodd, and a few returning voices. Of course, we have Tara Strong as the voice of Harley Quinn, and she also does the voice of Poison Ivy. But we have a few other Batman alumni in this, as Will Friedle voices Red Robin, and of course, he was the voice of Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond. And Tom Kenny is the voice of the Penguin, and he voiced the Penguin in The Batman. So I really like the art direction in this movie, and I love the character design. They did a really good job fitting in the Batman characters into a Japanese setting. And they used the style of all the characters to work with different aspects of Japan. Of course, you have Batman and the Robins fitting in as ninjas, but you also had like the Joker as sort of this, I guess a Tengu or some kind of Kabuki style character. And my favorite was probably Bane as a sumo wrestler. That was really well done. Should also be noted that the character design was done by Takashi Okazaki, who is most famous for Afro Samurai. As far as the CGI goes, however, it was kind of hit or miss. The action scenes were really well done. Unfortunately, where the movie hurts the most, I think, is the lip dubbing. It was most noticeable with the Joker, who in this movie is very hyper and exaggerated, and if you take a really close look at his lip movements, it never really syncs up properly, unfortunately. I believe this movie is going to be getting a Japanese release soon, and that might be the reason why the lip movements don't really work out. It's probably made with a more Japanese audience in mind, and when you dub CGI into other languages, it's very difficult because it's not like 2D where you can sync things up. With CGI, there's a lot of movement, and it's very difficult to get lips to sync up to different languages. My only other complaint was, well, we didn't really get to know the ninjas that Batman teamed up with. It seemed a lot of them were standing out as if they were going to be main characters, and as far as I know, they're original to this movie. Like, they don't exist in the DC universe at all. And we don't really know much about him other than Batman showed up during some sort of prophecy when like a bat god would lead them to victory or something like that. Really, the only times we get to see them is during a fight, and they usually end up going off on their own, and we don't see them for long periods of time. It would have been nice to at least expand upon these characters a little bit. But I tell you what, this movie is balls to the wall crazy. Typically, I don't like time travel stories because time travel is inherently flawed in a story because it just opens up all kinds of plot holes that can't be closed. But this movie doesn't really take it too seriously, so I'm willing to forgive a lot. And I'll also admit that this movie was just kind of okay for a while, but then it starts to escalate in its own insanity, and it gets really crazy towards the end. Like, me describing it here will not do it justice. You have to see it for yourself. All I'll say is that the climax of this movie goes full anime parody, and it is awesome. So in conclusion, this movie is schlock. It didn't start out like that. It kind of started out a little bit boring, like I said, but when you get to that final scene, then it gets really good, and I'm willing to forgive all the faults of it just for that. So if you want some good, fun schlock, check this movie out. But anyway, that's all I got for Batman Ninja. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think of it. My name is Rob, and I hope this is the last Batman movie for a while.